Shoulder pain and loss of overhead mobility are among the most frustrating and limiting challenges seniors face after the age of 60. When the shoulder joint quietly loses space and tendons begin catching with every lift, everyday independence starts slipping away, leaving millions of older adults unable to dress themselves, reach a top shelf, or even sleep through the night without waking in pain. Now here's what most doctors won't tell you. A 2021 study from Keio University's Department of Orthopedic Medicine revealed that seniors with untreated shoulder impingement don't just experience worsening pain, they lose up to 40% of their overhead mobility within 2 years, and nearly 60% develop compensatory injuries in the opposite shoulder or neck, trying to avoid the pain. The root cause isn't arthritis or age itself. It's mechanical crowding caused by forward posture and rotator cuff weakness that traps tendons between bones with every movement, a pattern that worsens silently until surgery feels like the only option left. But what if you could reverse that crowding in your own home? In this episode, Japan's oldest doctor will walk you through 5 precise exercises designed to open space in the shoulder, reposition the joint, and restore pain-free overhead movement. And if you stay with us until the end, we have a surprise for you that will give you lifelong shoulder relief. Welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast, where ancient wisdom meets modern science to help you stay strong, capable, and pain-free. Today, we're uncovering why shoulder impingement becomes inevitable for most seniors after 60, how postural collapse and muscle imbalance silently destroy shoulder function, and most importantly, the only 5 exercises you need to never have shoulder pain again. And to guide us through is Japan's oldest physician. Doctor, please tell us why this episode matters so much.
Thank you, John. This is one of the most critical episodes we have recorded because the shoulder determines whether a senior remains independent or begins depending on others for basic tasks. When the rotator cuff weakens and posture collapses forward, the shoulder loses its protective space. Pain becomes constant, reaching becomes risky, and eventually many seniors stop trying altogether, which is when true loss of independence begins.
That's exactly what I see in my practice. Patients who've quietly stopped doing things they love because the pain isn't worth it anymore. So before we begin, please comment 1, if reaching overhead causes sharp or catching pain, or 2, if your shoulders ache even when you're not moving them. This will give us a clear starting point. Now, doctor, before we dive into the first exercise, tell us what is really happening inside the shoulder that makes pain appear so suddenly and persistently after 60.
This is something every senior needs to understand before we begin. Inside your shoulder, you have the head of your upper arm bone, the humerus, that must sit perfectly centered in a shallow socket on your shoulder blade. When everything is working properly, there is space above this ball for tendons to glide freely. But when posture shifts forward or the rotator cuff weakens, the ball migrates upward slightly. Suddenly, there is crowding. The tendons get pinched between the ball and the roof of your shoulder blade with every overhead movement. This is what we call impingement.
So the pain isn't from worn-out joints. It's from tendons getting trapped in a space that's become too small.
Exactly. And this happens primarily for 2 reasons. The first is posture. When the shoulders round forward, from years of sitting, reading, or simply life, the shoulder blade tilts in a way that reduces space at the front of the shoulder. The second is rotator cuff weakness. The rotator cuff is a group of 4 small muscles that hold the ball centered in the socket. When these muscles weaken with age, the ball drifts upward, creating even more crowding and pinching.
That explains why so many seniors tell me the pain seems to come from nowhere. They haven't injured themselves, yet suddenly reaching overhead is excruciating.
Yes. And I want everyone to try 2 simple tests right now that will demonstrate exactly what's happening.
All right, everyone, get ready. We are going to test something ourselves first. What should we do, doctor?
For the first test, stand or sit with your shoulders rounded forward. Let your posture collapse like you've been sitting at a desk all day. Now try to raise your arms overhead. Notice how limited the movement feels. There may even be sharp pain or blocking.
I'm doing it now and I can barely get my arms past shoulder height.
Right. Now straighten up. Pull your shoulders back. Lift your chest. Stand tall. Try raising your arms overhead again. You should be able to go much higher and the pain should decrease significantly.
That's remarkable. Just changing posture created more space instantly. Let's go to the second test.
Exactly. Now for the second test. Hold your arms at your sides and turn your thumbs downward, pointing towards your thighs. Now try to raise your arms out to the sides and overhead. Again, you'll feel blocked, limited, possibly painful.
Yes, I feel catching in my shoulder almost immediately.
Now rotate your hands so your thumbs point toward the ceiling. Raise your arms again. The movement should feel much freer and the pain should reduce dramatically.
It's like a completely different shoulder, and this is the perfect moment for some engagement in the comments. Please pause the video right now and share your experience in the comments below. For example, I'm John. I have been following this channel for about 6 months, and I felt a big difference in these tests.
John, these 2 tests prove that your shoulder pain is largely mechanical. It's about position, not permanent damage. And this gives us our treatment framework. We must do 3 things. First, we stretch the tight areas that pull the shoulder forward. The chest, the front of the shoulders, the internal rotators. Then we strengthen the postural muscles between the shoulder blades that keep them in proper position. And third, we strengthen the rotator cuff to hold the ball centered in the socket. That is exactly what these 5 exercises accomplish.
So we're not just treating symptoms, we're correcting the root cause.
Precisely. And once you understand that, the exercises make complete sense. Let's begin with the first one, which addresses the tightness that's pulling your shoulders forward in the first place.
All right, let's get into it. Everyone stay with us.
The first thing we must do is stretch the areas that have become chronically tight. When posture looks like this, shoulders rounded, chest collapsed, it's the chest muscles, the front of the shoulders and the internal rotators that have shortened and are pulling us into this position. Our first step is to lengthen these tissues and create space for the shoulder to sit properly. And for this we do what I call the doorway stretch.
Wait, this is something people can do with just a doorway?
Yes. Any doorway in your home works perfectly, and we perform it in 3 positions to target different fibers of the chest and shoulder. For the first position, stand in the doorway and place your hands on either side of the frame at about hip level. Keep excellent posture, chest lifted, chin up and shoulders back. Now step forward through the doorway until you feel a comfortable stretch across the entire front of your chest and the front of your shoulders. Hold this for 20 to 30 seconds.
And breathing normally throughout?
Yes. Always breathe. Never hold your breath during stretches. Now for the second position, bring your hands up to shoulder level on the door frame. Same excellent posture. Step through again until you feel the stretch, but now you'll notice it hits a slightly different area of the chest, more toward the middle fibers. Hold this for 20 seconds.
So we're targeting the same muscles but from different angles.
Exactly. And the third position is the most important for shoulder impingement specifically. This time, place your entire forearm against the door frame, from elbow to hand, with your elbow at about shoulder height. Now step forward, but also rotate your chest slightly downward toward the floor. You're trying to stretch your shoulder back into external rotation. You'll feel this deeper in the front of the shoulder itself, not just the chest.
That sounds like it really opens up the joint.
It does. And here's what the research confirms. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Shoulder and Elbow Surgery found that seniors who performed doorway stretches targeting the chest and anterior shoulder 3 times daily for 4 weeks increased subacromial space by an average of 18%. That's the space where tendons get pinched. More space means less impingement, less pain, and more freedom of movement.
So this isn't just a feel-good stretch, it's actually creating measurable room in the joint.
Precisely. If your doorway is too wide to stretch both arms simultaneously, you can do one arm at a time. Place one forearm against the side of the frame and lean into it, rotating your chest slightly down. 20 seconds each side. I recommend repeating this entire sequence, all 3 positions, at least 2 to 3 times throughout the day, morning, afternoon, and evening if possible.
That's manageable. A few minutes total spread across the day.
Yes. And once we've opened up this space, we need to strengthen the muscles that will keep the shoulder blade in this new, better position. That's where the next 2 exercises come in.
Let's hear them. What do we do next?
Now that we've stretched the front of the body, we must strengthen the back. Specifically, we need to strengthen the muscles that hold your shoulder blades in proper position, the lower trapezius and the middle trapezius. These muscles live between your shoulder blades and are responsible for keeping them flat against your back and preventing that forward collapse.
And when these muscles are weak, the shoulder blade tips forward and creates impingement?
Exactly. So the next exercise is what we call prone A's and targets the lower trapezius. You'll need to lie face down on a mat, a carpet, or even your bed. Let your arms rest at your sides, slightly away from your body. The first step is to lift your chest off the ground, not dramatically, just enough to feel the muscles between your shoulder blades engage.
So we're activating through the back before we even move the arms.
Yes. Now, from this position, with your chest slightly lifted, raise your hands toward the ceiling while simultaneously pushing them down toward your feet. You're extending at the shoulder and reaching toward your toes at the same time. You should feel those lower trapezius muscles, the ones below your shoulder blades, working intensely.
And how long do we hold each repetition?
Hold for 3 to 5 seconds at the top, then lower back down with control. Repeat this 10 times. If 10 feels comfortable, work up to 2 or 3 sets of 10. This is an exercise you can do daily.
Got it. And then the second exercise is for the middle trap.
Yes, and this one is sometimes called the W because of the shape your arms make. Same starting position, lying face down, but now your arms are out to the sides at about shoulder level, elbows bent at 90 degrees. Again, lift your chest slightly to engage the back muscles. Now pull your elbows down and back. Imagine tucking them into your back pockets while squeezing your shoulder blades together. Then lift your hands toward the ceiling.
So the elbows come down and in, and the shoulder blades pinch together, if I understand this correctly.
Exactly. When you do this correctly, you'll feel a strong activation right between your shoulder blades, the middle trapezius. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds at the top, then lower with control. Again, it is best to do 10 repetitions, 2 to 3 sets.
These seem simple, but I can already feel how challenging they would be.
They are deceptively effective, and they matter so much. When these postural muscles are strong, they physically hold the shoulder blade in proper position. The forward tilt that causes impingement is corrected. Space returns beneath the roof of the shoulder, and the tendons can glide freely again.
I believe that straight away. So we've stretched the front and strengthened the back. What comes next?
Now we address the rotator cuff directly. Because even with perfect posture, If the rotator cuff isn't strong enough to hold the ball centered in the socket, impingement will return. The next exercise is one of my favorites for this.
All right, everyone pay attention. This next one is critical.
For this exercise, John, you'll need a small weight, a light dumbbell, a water bottle, or even a can of soup. You'll also need a small rolled-up towel. The weight should be light, especially at first. If your rotator cuff is very weak, you can start with no weight at all. The towel goes between your elbow and your side.
Why the towel?
The towel keeps your elbow in the correct position throughout the movement. It prevents you from squeezing your elbow against your ribs, which would change the exercise entirely. Now, lie down on your unaffected side. The painful shoulder should be facing up toward the ceiling.
So if my right shoulder hurts, I lie on my left side, right?
Correct. Hold the small weight in your top hand. Tuck the towel between your elbow and your side. Keep your elbow bent at 90 degrees. This is your starting position, with your forearm across your stomach.
Got it. Let's look at the movement now.
All right. Using only the muscles in the back of your shoulder, your rotator cuff, slowly rotate your hand upward toward the ceiling. Keep the elbow glued to the towel and bent at 90 degrees. The only movement is the rotation at the shoulder. Try to raise the hand as high as you can comfortably go. Hold for 1 to 2 seconds at the top. Then lower slowly back to the starting position.
And people should feel this right in the back of the shoulder?
Exactly. The external rotators of the rotator cuff, muscles like the infraspinatus and teres minor, are doing all the work. These are the muscles that hold the ball of the arm bone down and centered in the socket. When they're weak, the ball migrates upward and causes impingement. When they're strong, the ball stays where it belongs.
Okay, how many repetitions?
10 to 12 repetitions on the affected side. Then repeat for 3 sets. The key is slow, controlled movement, especially on the way down. No momentum, no swinging. Pure rotator cuff activation.
I bet this exercise can bring major changes.
It absolutely does. A 2020 study published in Clinical Rehabilitation examined adults over 60 with diagnosed shoulder impingement. Those who performed external rotation, strengthening exercises 3 times weekly for 8 weeks reported a 55% reduction in pain and a significant improvement in overhead function. The researchers concluded that rotator cuff strengthening directly addresses the mechanical cause of impingement by centering the humeral head in the glenoid fossa.
So this isn't just symptom management. It's correcting the underlying dysfunction.
Exactly. And now we move to the final exercise, which combines everything we've learned into one functional movement. This is my favorite for seniors because it mimics real-world shoulder use while training the rotator cuff in a very practical way.
I'm ready. Let's hear it. Stay with us, everyone. Just one more exercise to go, and then we have the surprise for you.
The final exercise is called the sword raise. You'll need a resistance band for this. If you don't have one, I highly recommend investing in a light one. They're inexpensive and incredibly useful for shoulder health.
And if someone doesn't have a band yet?
You can start with no resistance at all, just practicing the movement pattern. But eventually, light resistance makes this exercise much more effective. Now, here's the concept. Imagine you have a sword in a sheath at your hip. Your thumb is pointing down into the pocket. The movement is drawing the sword out and raising it triumphantly up and across your body.
So we're combining rotation and elevation.
Exactly. This is what makes sword raises so powerful. You're training external rotation and shoulder elevation simultaneously, the exact combination needed for healthy, pain-free overhead movement. You do this by anchoring your resistance band low under your foot or attached to something stable near the floor. Start with your hand near the opposite hip, thumb pointing downward.
Like reaching across to grab the sword at your hip.
Yes, now pull the band up and across, your body in a diagonal line. As you lift, rotate your thumb toward the ceiling. You should finish with your arm elevated and externally rotated, thumb pointing behind you, arm at about eye level or slightly higher.
And we hold at the top?
Yes, hold for 1 to 2 seconds. Then lower slowly and with control back to the starting position. The slow lowering is just as important as the lifting. 10 repetitions on each side. Repeat for 3 sets.
What if someone feels pain at the very top of the movement?
This is common, especially early on. If the top position is painful, simply reduce your range. Finish at eye level instead of going overhead. As your rotator cuff strengthens and space returns to the shoulder, you'll gradually be able to reach higher without pain.
Why is this exercise so functional compared to the others?
Because it combines all 3 components of healthy shoulder movement, rotation, abduction, and elevation, in one smooth pattern. Real life doesn't isolate movements. When you reach into a cabinet, you're rotating and elevating at the same time. This exercise trains the shoulder to do exactly that while keeping the rotator cuff engaged and protective.
This really does tie everything together, stretching the front, strengthening the back, reinforcing the rotator cuff, and then training a functional movement.
Yes, and together these 5 exercises address every mechanical cause of shoulder impingement. They create space, correct posture, and build the strength needed to keep the shoulder healthy for years to come.
Doctor, this has been incredibly practical. I know so many people are going to feel relief just from understanding what's actually causing their pain and having a clear path to fix it. To everyone listening, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to watch this next episode.
Oh, this is a good one. People should see this.
Definitely watch. See you there.